Paras looks like a cheerful little crab with cute mushrooms on its back, which is adorable right up until you realize those mushrooms are slowly consuming its brain, and Paras has absolutely no idea. By the end of this, you'll understand why Paras might be the most quietly horrifying Pokémon in the entire franchise, and why its so called evolution is less of a glow up and more of a full on hostile takeover. Let's get into it. So, first things first, those mushrooms on Perez's back aren't decorations, they're not accessories, and they are definitely not optional. They're called tachukaso, and they are parasitic fungi that have been growing into Perez's body since it was born, not sitting on top, growing into. Like fused, some Pokédex style entries suggest the fungi are already draining nutrients directly from Perez and using its body as a host organism, which sounds less like a Pokemon description and more like a nature documentary that goes somewhere dark really fast. The mental image here is simple. Imagine you've had a backpack on since birth, except the backpack has been slowly stitching itself to your spine the whole time, and you think that's just how spines work. That's paras. Okay, but here's the part that actually breaks my brain. It's not just nutrients the fungi are taking. Some entries suggest the Tachukaso gradually takes control of Perez's movements. As in, Perez isn't really steering, the mushroom is. Perez is a remote controlled car, and the fungus misplaced the instruction manual years ago. And this is the first big plot twist. Perez isn't aggressive, it's not territorial, it's not even particularly aware, it's not doing anything. It's just being piloted by a fungus that has its own agenda and zero interest in Perez's well being. Sympathetic horror is the only way to describe it. And then it gets worse, because even where Perez lives isn't its own choice. Perez hangs out in damp, dark caves, MT. Moon underground tunnels, shaded grottos, and you'd think, sure, it's a bug. That tracks. Except the real reason is that direct sunlight weakens the fungi. So Perez doesn't live in the dark because it wants to. It lives in the dark because its parasite needs it to. Perez doesn't even get to pick its own neighborhood. The mushroom does. It's like having a roommate who controls the thermostat, locks the curtains, and also is slowly eating you. Now, you'd hope that at minimum Perez could defend itself, right? And here's where its typing comes in, and I want you to prepare yourself, because bug and grass sounds fine on paper and is a complete disaster in practice. Bug slash grass stacks weaknesses instead of covering them. We're talking fire, flying, ice, poison, rock, 5 type weaknesses, several of which are extremely common. It resists almost nothing that matters. It's like having a bank vault door installed on a cardboard box. Very impressive on one side, structurally tragic everywhere else. Paras does have one ability that sounds promising though, dry skin. In rain, it actually heals HP passively, which is legitimately useful, except dry skin also makes it take extra damage from fire moves. So in sun, the ability that's supposed to help it survive actively makes it more likely to get wiped out by the most common weakness it already has. That's the second plot twist. Paras' biggest defensive asset is also its most dangerous liability, depending on what the weather's doing. The universe really went out of its way on this one. But here's the thing, and this is important, Paras does have one genuinely incredible move. Spore. 100% accuracy sleep. No other move in the game does that. If Paras lands Spore, the opponent is just asleep. No debate, no accuracy roll, good night. In lower tiers and casual play, getting that off early can completely flip a battle. So Paras has one elite skill in a sea of structural problems, like a coworker who's barely keeping it together, but somehow always delivers the one thing that actually matters. Except, and this is the third plot twist, Spore isn't really Paras doing anything cool. In the lore, the Tochukaso releases spores naturally as part of its reproductive cycle. Paras is just the delivery system. The mushroom didn't teach Paras a move. The mushroom used Paras to do what mushrooms do. Paras didn't learn Spore. The mushroom did. Paras just showed up. So its most powerful asset exists entirely for the parasite's benefit, not for Paras at all. Which brings us to evolution, which I need you to understand is not what you think it is. Parasect looks like the next stage, the stronger form, the payoff, and in a technical game sense it is. But lore-wise, Parasect is just what happens when the takeover is complete. The Tochukaso on Parasect's back is enormous. It's fully fused with the body, and the crab underneath has those empty, dead white eyes that suggest the original host is just not home anymore. Some entries make it pretty explicit. The mushroom is running the show entirely. The crab body is a vehicle. Paras went through evolution and didn't come out the other side. It's the most tragic glow up in the franchise, and there's a lot of competition for that title. Parasect is just Paras, but the process finished. No fanfare, no transformation, no power unlock. Just completion of a hostile acquisition that started before Paras could even walk. And somehow, despite all of this, the stolen autonomy, the nightmare typing, the five weaknesses, the existential horror of the whole situation, Paras has a loyal fan base. People who know the Sportech, who appreciate the niche utility, who will slot it into a team specifically to put something to sleep on turn one and then swap out immediately like it was always the plan. It's not a good Pokemon by most metrics. It's a specifically useful one in exactly the right context, which is somehow more impressive than just being good. Most Pokémon are strong. Paras carved out a purpose while being controlled by a fungus and having the type matchup of someone who made all the wrong choices. And honestly, respect. So next time you see that little crab shuffling around MT Moon with its cute mushroom backpack, just remember, Paras doesn't suck at being a Pokemon. It sucks at being itself, and it doesn't even know.